All right, now this is 2 Kings 18 and 13. And one more thing, when y'all brothers do your shows, try to make sure your videos not on private, because that's been happening to me lately. You know, I've been doing lessons, and my lesson, for some reason, when I upload it, it'll be on private, and for like 3 or 4 days, and then I go back to my page, and I'm like, why is there's no views there? It's a lock right there, so it look like the shows are extra far apart, extra days apart. So yeah, just try to make sure that don't happen, because that been happening to me a lot lately for some reason. I think it's doing that. I don't think it's doing that by itself, because I don't do that. But this is 2 Kings 18 and 13. Now in the 14th year of King Hezekiah did Sennacherib king of Assyria come up against all the fenced cities of Judah and took them. And Hezekiah king of Judah sent to the king of Assyria to Lachish, saying, I have offended. Return from me. That which thou puttest on me will I bear. And the king of Assyria appointed unto Hezekiah king of Judah 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold. And Hezekiah gave him all the silver that was found in the house of the Lord, and in the treasures of the king's house. At that time did Hezekiah cut off the gold from the doors of the temple of the Lord, and from the pillars which Hezekiah king of Judah had overlaid, and gave it to the king of Assyria. So Hezekiah is giving riches to the king of Assyria. That's the description on that. As a matter of fact, let's read 2 Kings 18:17. And the king of Assyria sent Tartan and Rabsaris and Rabshakeh from Lachish to King Hezekiah with a great host against Jerusalem. And they went up and came to Jerusalem. And when they were up, they came and stood by the conduit of the upper pool, which is in the highway of the fullest field. And when they had called to the king, there came out to them Eliakim the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joel the son of Asaph the recorder. And Rabshakeh said unto them, Speak ye now to Hezekiah. Thus saith the great king, the king of Assyria, What confidence is this wherein thou trustest? Thou sayest, but they are but vain words. I have counsel and strength for the war. So this is speaking in regards to Hezekiah. Now in whom doest thou trust that thou rebellest against me? Who do you trust in that's going to cause you to rebel against the king of Assyria? This is what basically the king of Assyria's messengers or officers are saying, speaking to Hezekiah and saying, okay, now behold, thou trustest upon the staff of this bruised reed, even upon Egypt. So Egypt was referenced as a bruised reed, because at one time Egypt was superpower, but there was a point in time when Egypt came under Assyrian rule. So he's referencing them as a bruised reed. Now behold, thou trustest upon the staff of this bruised reed, even unto Egypt, on which if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. In other words, you're trusting into Egypt to deliver you out of my hand, but trusting into Egypt is going to be to your own hurt. That's why I said you'll lean onto it, and it will go into your hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt unto all that trust on him. But if ye say unto me, We trust in the Lord our God, it's not that he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah hath taken away, and hath said to Judah and Jerusalem, Ye shall worship before his altar in Jerusalem. I'm gonna jump down a little bit. We'll jump down to verse 33. Hath any of the gods of the nation delivered at all his hand out of the land, delivered at all his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hamath and of Arphad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim, Hena, and Ivah? Have they delivered Samaria out of mine hand? Talking about all the gods of, in other words, these different lands. Where are the gods of their lands? Have they delivered them out of the hand of Egypt? Out of the hand of the Assyrians? Who are they among all the gods of the countries that have delivered their country out of mine hand? That the Lord should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand. What makes you think the Lord will deliver you? But the people held their peace and answered him not a word. For the commandment was, saying, Answer him not. Then came Eliakim the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joel the son of Asaph the recorder, to Hezekiah with their clothes rent, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. So they came and told Hezekiah this word. And it came to pass when King Hezekiah heard it, that he rent his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of the Lord. There was a time when Hezekiah basically trusted in Egypt, allied with Egypt to help against the Assyrians, right? Read a little more into that. Now this is the book of Isaiah 37:1. And it came to pass when Hezekiah heard it when King Hezekiah heard it, that he rent his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of the Lord. And he sent Eliakim, who was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the priests, covered with sackcloth, unto Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos. And they said unto him, Thus saith Hezekiah, This day is a day of trouble, and of rebuke, and of blasphemy, for the children are come to the birth, and there is not strength to bring forth. It may be the Lord thy power will hear the words of Rabshakeh, whom the king of Assyria his master hath sent to reproach the living power, and will reprove the words which the Lord thy power hath heard. Wherefore lift up thy prayer for the remnant that is left. So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah, and Isaiah said unto them, Thus shall ye say unto your master, Thus saith the Lord, Be not afraid of the words which thou hast heard, wherewith the servants of the king of Assyria has blasphemed me. Behold, I will send a blast upon them, and he shall hear a rumor, and return to his own land, and I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land. So basically, what he's saying is, what Isaiah is saying to the servants of King Hezekiah, don't be afraid of the words that the king of Assyria has said in regards to the gods of these other lands have not delivered them out of the hand, because why? Your God is going to deliver you. Your power is going to deliver you. So this is what's being said by the prophet Isaiah to King Hezekiah's servants, or to King Hezekiah, which, because the servants is obviously going to relay the message, just as the king of Assyria's servants had sent the message for their king. Now this here, what you see before you, is an image of King Hezekiah's seal, and this was discovered in 1992, if I'm not mistaken, and it's found in a book called Lasting Impressions. And if I didn't say this in the first part of the video, what made me want to do this video, because I remember I had seen the video with that guy Shaka Amos from that be with Sa Nigga, and them guys, the House of Consciousness, whatever it is that they call, and he did he basically was speaking in front of a bunch of people, and he went into a book called Lasting Impressions, and he pulled up Hezekiah's seal, and he was saying, well, look at this is Hezekiah's seal. This is from a book called Lasting Impressions. Why are they using our stuff? Why are they using our stuff? Because if you look right here, you see an ankh. If you look right here, you kind of see another ankh on the side. It's fading away. See, like right about here. If you look here, you see like an ankh. And of course, you see a sun disk. Okay, let's get another image of this. This is from the WashingtonPost.com. Seal of a biblical king is found in a trash heap in Jerusalem. You see the image on the left is like the drawing of it. The royal seal of a biblical king has been unearthed near the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The seal, a clay impression depicting two-winged sun with two ankh symbols on either side, was once used to seal papyrus documents associated with King Hezekiah, who ruled Judea from 727 BC to 698 BC. The seal was unearthed in an ancient trash heap in the walls of the Temple Mount. Although seal impressions bearing King Hezekiah's name have already been known from the antiquities market since the middle of the 1990s, some with a winged scarab, dung beetle symbol, and others with a winged sun, this is the first time that a seal impression of an Israelite or Judean king has ever come to light in a scientific archaeological excavation. Eliab Mazar, the archaeologist who led the excavation, said in a statement, King Hezekiah is one of the most famous of the Israelite kings. During his reign, he rooted out idol worship, spruced up the decrepit temple, and centralized power as told in biblical accounts, as we read earlier in our previous part. His reign is one of the best to be documented by non-biblical sources. See that? Some non-biblical sources. The chronicles of the Assyrian kings Sargon II and Sennacherib, who laid siege to Jerusalem in Hezekiah's time, describe the Israelite ruler paying tribute to them to fend off attacks, as we read in the book of 2 Kings, the 18th chapter, when he was giving them the different riches. Belonging to Hezekiah, the team found the seal while sifting through remains from a trash heap found outside what was once the royal building. Essentially the food pantry for the ancient kingdom, When the researchers took a closer look, they realized the item was a seal with the following inscription: belonging to Hezekiah, Ahaz, king of Judah, or son of Ahaz, king of Judah. The seal measures about a half-inch across and bears the imprint of the ring that would have encircled the seal of soft clay. While similar seals have cropped up in local markets for 2 decades, this is the first time an official excavation has uncovered a seal from Hezekiah's reign. The winged sun image suggests the seal came from later in Hezekiah's rule. Early in his reign, Hezekiah used a scarab or beetle, which was a typical symbol of power in the Middle East at the time. So a scarab beetle was a typical symbol of power in the Middle East at the time. But in later life, he turned to the winged sun imagery, which represented the protection and refuge of the Most High. Other kings, such as those of the Assyrians, also employed this symbol, and Hezekiah's interaction with the Assyrians may have influenced his choice, the researchers wrote in a statement. See, that's the part Dr. Amos didn't mention. He didn't mention that a scarab was a symbol of power in the Middle East at the time. He didn't mention that. Now it said, but in later life, he turned to the winged sun imagery, right? This is Psalms 84 and 11. For the Lord power is a sun and shield. See, it's a sun and shield. The sun gives light. The sun gives warmth. The sun gives beauty to the Lord's creation by giving us the light to see. And we get light from the Lord. So for the Lord God is a sun and a shield. The shield is what? For protection. The Lord will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly. Just as the Lord gives grace and glory, the sun gives glory to the Lord's creation, because it gives us the light to see it. So the Most High is a sun and a shield. The sun gives light. The sun gives glory. The sun gives light. The sun gives warmth, and the sun gives beauty to the Lord's creations. Just as the Lord gives us light, and he's also what? A shield of what? Protection. Back here it says right over here it says Hezekiah used a scarab or beetle, which is a typical symbol of power in the Middle East at the time. But in later life, he turned to the winged sun imagery, which represented the protection and refuge of the Most High. Okay, which represented protection and refuge of the Most High. What also represents refuge? The wings, right? Because wings represent what? Safety. What does a bird do when it sees a threat coming its way? Doesn't the bird fly away with its wings? Deuteronomy 33 and 27. The eternal power is thy refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. So the Most High is our refuge. He's our safety. And underneath are the everlasting arms. Arms represent help. Arms that are everlasting, arms that are eternal. So guess what? The Most High is always there to protect us. And he shall thrust out the enemy from before thee, and shall say, destroy them. Right? Malachi 4 and 2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. See that? With healing in his wings. And he shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall.